Hello everybody and welcome back to Tales of Arise. Again, we are going to be reminiscing. I'm going to do as many as possible. We'll go down this list here, continue on to the next part of the list because there's so many. And then maybe in the next video we'll continue with the rest of the game. And we'll continue reminiscing another time. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy this. Let's get to it.
Rinwell, don't go too far ahead. You never know where Zoogles might be lurking.
Oh, we'll be fine. We've been able to handle them up until now.
Still, better that you hang back a bit.
No way. I'm the one who asked you to come here in the first place, remember?
Yeah, but if we lose you, we won't know where to go. Besides, it's old guys like me who should be sticking their necks out first.
But...
We need you in order to get in contact with the Resistance in Cislodia. So stick close until we find them, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Now you've got me wondering. How'd you make it to Calaglia in the first place? I find it hard to imagine you didn't run into Zoogles along the way.
Are you good at hiding or something?
Yeah, that's it. I'm just really good at staying out of sight.
Wow. Still, you had to have been pretty lucky to have made it the whole way unscathed.
Lucky indeed. As if this place wasn't cold enough, it's also pitch black. I'm amazed anyone can live in this realm.
Seriously. Having all this snow everywhere makes it harder to walk or get anything done. And not having any light to see by makes the uneven terrain even more difficult.
Calaglia is no walk in the park either. It's dusty and there's rocks everywhere. And it's on fire all over the place.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you mention it, all those fires are a pretty weird phenomenon. They were always so annoying to navigate around.
Out here, fire's as important as water to our survival. So are the trees we use for firewood.
Is it that rare to see the sun here?
Not just rare. Until I went to Calaglia, I'd never seen sunlight before. I'd only heard about it. I couldn't believe just how hot and bright it seemed to be. But I guess in most realms, it's just a fact of life. They're used to it.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it? The way the sorts of things people take for granted change from one place to another.
Hey, so, about my magic.
You want to keep it a secret, right?
Yeah, sorry.
A little late for that after what happened in the village, don't you think?
Easy, Shion.
It's just...
Hmm?
I didn't want Zephyr to die. That's why I used it.
I know. And we might have lost him without your help. So thank you, Rinwell.
Sure.
Hey, Rinwell. Do you always have to say an incantation before you cast an art?
Yeah. They don't really add any extra power or anything, but reciting them is what allows the astral energy to come together and flow through me. It takes time to complete, but they're what lets me use such strong magic in the first place.
What happens if someone interrupts you while you're in the middle of chanting?
Then I have to start over from the beginning. As soon as my concentration breaks, any astral energy I've accumulated disperses.
Got it. So once you start reciting, that's our cue to make sure that no enemies can get near enough to disrupt you.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. Although, I do have one fun trick up my sleeve. Once I finish chanting a full incantation, I can hold on to a single astral art without casting it right away.
So once the astral energy's in place, you can choose to set it off whenever you want? That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't fully have the hang of it just yet, but I'm sure it'll come in handy sooner or later.
Who was that guy?
Do you think he could have been the Lord we're looking for? Ganabelt?
I doubt a lord would deign to roam around a place like this alone. Besides, what business would a Renin have with killing Zeugles?
Now that I look at it, it was a good call staying out of his way, I think. Look at this. He took them out with a single slice. This guy's no amateur. You okay?
Yeah.
We should get going. Zephyr needs us.
Be careful. If anyone's even a little suspicious of us, they'll report us immediately.
Right. It's not just Snake Eyes we need to watch out for, but other Denons too. Still, there are a fair amount of people out on the streets. Isn't it safer to stay at home?
That's the thing. If you stay cooped up too long, people start to suspect you're hiding something. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So people feel like they have no choice but to turn others in so they don't get in trouble. What a miserable way to live. At the very least, we should probably go someplace where there aren't so many... Ah, Shion!
We already stick out here like a sore thumb as it is. So I think it's better if we just walk confidently out in the open. Don't look anxious. Just walk firmly and look like you have a destination in mind.
What, is sticking to the plan too much of a hassle for her? This is why Renins are the worst.
I don't know if it's a Renin thing or not, but she does have a point. Anyway, we're not gonna get anywhere just standing around. Let's follow after her. Have you and Menek known each other for long, Rinwell?
No, not really. I haven't been with the Silver Swords for all that long, truth be told. He's a smart guy, but he's also deeply suspicious of other people. I can understand, since that's how you get to survive around here.
Really? I could tell he was wary of us at first, but he seemed to warm up to us pretty quickly once we talked to him.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual for him. I think that's a sign of how desperate things have become. In my case, it took a long time for him to start trusting me. But then again, I kinda get where he's coming from. You never know who might betray the group, or when the Snake Eyes might be watching.
What made you join up with the Silver Swords in the first place? This wasn't your hometown, so... Was it the Snake Eyes who...
No. It wasn't them. Actually, we shouldn't stand around talking. People will start to suspect us. Let's keep moving.
As if it wasn't weird enough getting into the city through that hole. Why are there so many passages like this around Cisloden? And it doesn't seem like the Snake Eyes use them to get around without being detected either.
Yeah, they don't look like ruins. Do you have any idea, Rinwell?
These passages are sewers. They're underground so the water doesn't freeze, but they're not really unusual in big cities like this one.
Really?
Is there nothing like these back in Calaglia?
Not as far as I know. In Calaglia, anything they wanted to get rid of, like waste or garbage, was simply burned. Including the bodies of dead slaves. I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe it was another way of getting astral energy out of them. Sorry, that took a dark turn, didn't it? Enemies who can cast astral arts can be pretty difficult. Not only are they powerful, but their range lets them strike us before we even get close.
Actually, I can just disrupt astral arts.
What do you mean?
When someone is casting an art, their focus has to be entirely on the incantation. So right when they're completing the casting, I just kinda steal it from them.
Really? Then what do you do with the energy you've stolen?
I hold on to it and use it whenever I want, like I can with my own magic. The thing is, I can only unleash that art once. After I use it, it's gone. Oh, also, when I steal astral energy, the enemy will lose focus, which means they can't cast anything else for a while.
So not only can you steal their energy, but doing so incapacitates them too? That's amazing, Rinwell. I didn't realize your magic could do so much.
It's actually something of a secret technique within my clan, so I kinda had to learn it.
Well, if we come across any tough enemies that use incantations, I'm sure that power of yours will come in real handy.
Yeah, it's tricky to pull off, but you can count on me.
That damn Ganabelt! I hate him!
I'm not seeing very many enemies around. What's going on?
They probably know we're not going to run away, and are waiting for us to show up.
Well, if it's a fight they want, I'll be more than happy to give them one.
They're probably inside the Revel prison tower in the plaza. That's where the Lord here lives.
The same building with the spirit vessel that's gathering all of the light, huh?
We need to be careful of how we go from here. The fact Ganabelt knew about my healing arts and had that poison ready tells me he's extremely dangerous.
He's not dangerous. He's just a rat bastard who's getting what's coming to him.
I'm telling you, don't underestimate him. We don't know what else he's got in store for us. One misstep on our part is all it's going to take to give him what he wants.
You're right. Dad, what were you trying to tell me there at the end? I guess it'll have to stay unspoken and unheard. Like all the other things we never got round to telling each other.
After all that, how can these people carry on like nothing happened? Didn't Zephyr's words reach anyone in that whole crowd?
The Snake Eyes could be anywhere. People are scared of being reported, so they can't do jack.
And speaking from experience, when you spend so much of your life as a slave, you stop even thinking of standing up and fighting. Calaglia had a lot of people like that.
Well, these people are in no position to demand anything anyway, when they've lost the will to fight and need others to protect them.
These people have had a hard enough time just keeping the fires lit. No one wants to sacrifice their life without good cause.
It is what it is. Once Ganabelt is out of the picture, things in Cyslodia are sure to change.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, hold up a sec, guys.
What's up?
We need to talk about Ganabelt. This guy can control both light and lightning, and I've heard his swordsmanship is unrivaled.
I'm not surprised. He is one of the top lords, after all.
That's not all. He also has these weird little gadgets that he likes to use.
Gadgets? You mean like some kind of a Renin weapon?
Probably. He's got a bunch of these things that hover all around him. They're supposed to protect him from attacks coming in at any angle.
I take it there aren't any blind spots then.
Nope. Which is why I plan to bust down his defenses from the front.
What? Why? Isn't that where his defense will be the toughest?
That's why it's worth attacking. Once I poke a hole in that bastard's defenses, the rest of you can tear it wide open and give him hell.
All right, we go with your plan, Law. Now let's get going. It's about time we got revenge for Zephyr.
I forgot to mention this before, but any enemies we go up against with real hard defenses, you just leave them to me.
Hard defenses? You mean like enemies with shields and things like that?
Shields, shells, armor, whatever. When you attack those kinds of enemies from the front, your blows mostly get blocked, right?
Sure. So you're saying you have a counter?
It's nothing fancy. Let's just say I have a knack for busting open tough, sturdy stuff. It's hard to explain, but I focus my energy and then hit a specific point with everything I've got. If I do it right, their defenses come crumbling down.
Really? But without astral arts, how could you possibly...
If he says he can do it, then he can do it. We can trust him.
Thanks, Alphen. Although, between you and me, Right now, there's nothing I want to bash in more than Ganabel's stupid, smug face.
I think you'll get your chance soon enough, Law.
Are you still thinking about that armory with all the Danon equipment?
Yeah, especially that black armor. I don't think I've ever seen anything from Dana that looked so nice.
I can tell you that it was definitely Danon. It was made using techniques found only here. That's how I know. But, ever since the Renans came, our civilization's been scrubbed out, bit by bit. Hardly anything's left now, which is why most people don't remember.
But why would the Renans have something like that? Unless it was the spoils of war. It must be a token of the Danons who fought and lost in the past. Or rather, that the Renans were able to beat them.
Armor that nice must have been worn by a commander of some sort. They might have even been a Danon hero.
A hero, huh? A fallen hero, maybe.
I hate to see all that stuff fall into Renan hands, but it's amazing to see that so much of it has survived.
You into this kind of stuff then, Rinwell?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Are we done here? We don't want to keep Ganabelt waiting any longer.
Law?
Yeah, sorry. Just a little travel weary is all. Looking forward to finally getting out of here, you know?
Still beating yourself up about your dad, aren't you?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But that's not what I was just thinking about.
Oh?
I never did tell you how I ended up hanging around with the Snake Eyes, did I?
Not properly. All I know is you had a falling out with your dad and ran away from home.
Getting to Cyslodia almost killed me. Once there, though, I actually ended up joining a resistance organization, believe it or not. Of course, before long, someone ratted us out. And we were ambushed by the Snake Eyes. I'd never seen such brutality. If I hadn't surrendered...
Law?
I don't know why. They let me live. They made me watch as they butchered my friends right in front of my eyes. I still have nightmares. I hear roars of Zeugles as my friends scream, the snow stained red with blood, and all the while those bastards laughing. I thought that with Ganabelt defeated, I'd be able to put it all behind me. Turns out that was a little optimistic. I was terrified they would kill me too. So I wound up betraying the memory of my friends and getting my old man killed in the process. I wonder if I'm any braver now. What if one day I panic again and end up running away like always?
And leave us behind? You really think you'd do that?
I hope not. But who's to say what I'm really capable of?
Ah! I found you.
Something wrong, Rinwell?
How very perceptive of you. When I turned around, you were gone, so we came back to look for you.
Maybe tell us next time you decide to stop? We need all our manpower to face these Zeugles.
Jeez, okay. I can't help it when nature calls, can I?
Nature? Ew, gross! Here?
Let's make tracks, shall we?
I hope he makes it through this.
You invited him along. He's your liability.
He's Zephyr's son, Shion. What was I supposed to do? Just leave him?
Fine. Just don't come crying to me about it, all right? I've got enough deadbeats slowing me down as it is.
Why did people dig this path so far underground?
Maybe it was too dangerous on the mountains for them to traverse over them.
So you're saying that before Dana was conquered, Danons made this so that they'd have a way to get through the mountains?
If I had to guess, they might have even lived inside of these once upon a time.
Not like there's any way of knowing now. Not after all our history was lost.
No, it wasn't lost. It was stolen from us by the Renans because they thought slaves didn't need it. And because keeping it around would have made it harder to control us.
It's not all gone. Look at that over there.
What is it? It looks like a broken piece from a dish or something.
Probably. It's true the Renans erased a lot of our history. But if we look hard enough, I think we'll find there's still plenty of it left. But first, we have to win the freedom to even look for it.
We'll win it all right. Then we'll reclaim our history.
What were you two talking about earlier?
Earlier? Oh, it was just serious guy talk. You know, the kind that girls don't get to hear.
Really?
Don't mind him, Rinwell. It's just... well, maybe it is a little difficult to talk about in front of women.
Difficult to talk about? Okay, now I really want to hear it. Unless... it's not the creepy sort of guy talk, right?
No! Okay? It's not creepy!
Okay, okay. As long as you're fighting fit, you can talk about whatever you like.
Hey, Law. Back when we left Cisleden, you remember how you said so long as you don't give up, there's nothing to stop someone starting over?
Yeah?
Well, I think you did just that. You've set out on a new path despite what happened in your past. Besides, you're not the only one fumbling your way through things.
You too?
It was your dad who taught me to fight. Back at the start of all this, I knew that so long as I followed him, I wouldn't end up straying. But it was also your dad who told me the importance of becoming my own master, of searching out the answers within me. I always figured I would one day. But at the same time, I had so much more to learn. When he died, I suddenly found myself rudderless. Sure, our immediate goal is to defeat all the lords. But then what comes after that? There's no one left to point me in the right direction. It was then that I realized, no matter how much I fret about it, the only thing I can do is fight. Renan brutality isn't going to right itself. So that's what I'm doing. Fighting. And in the meantime, I'll try to figure out my next move. Right now, that's about all I can do.
And you really believe you got what it takes to win this? Against all the odds?
Yes, I do. Or at least I want to. If I'm being completely honest, sometimes I'm not really sure whether I can or not. So what if we're still figuring stuff out? If we do it together, then we can support one another along the way. Is there anything so wrong with that?
No, I don't think there is. I think I get it now. We may not know what we're capable of, but we have to try all the same.
Having another one of your secret meetings? Don't tell me you were taking yet another bathroom break?
Oh, we were just engaging in a bit of brotherly bonding. Isn't that right, Alphen?
Yeah, that's right.
Fine then, suit yourselves. Hey, I think I can feel a breeze up ahead. I bet the exit is real close.
Finally! Man, it's been too long since I felt the sun on my face. Hey, did you make off with that armor while none of us were looking? Because I've gotta admit, you look pretty snazzy in it.
He didn't steal it, if that's what you mean. Bregan gave it to him as a parting gift.
Ah, right. Although it makes sense, I guess. It's like a symbol of rebellion in its own way.
Which is why it should have been your father wearing this, not me.
I don't know. I don't think he could have pulled it off like you, man.
I wonder what the last wearer of this armor was dreaming of for Cyslodia when they decided to rise up and fight.
Who knows? Anyone who could have answered that is long gone. Truth is always lost with the departed.
Are you saying there's no point in trying to understand why they gave up their lives?
No, only that it's impossible to know for sure. Look, I can tell that you're concerned about Cyslodia's future, but we do have other things to take care of. You can't shoulder all of the world's problems, Alphen. If you try to, you'll only find yourself buried by the weight of it all.
Yeah, I know. My path is forward, and I'll do what I can, here and now.
You were born in Calaglia, right, Law?
Oh yeah, it's scalding hot all the time there, so I was shocked when I learned Cyslodia is the exact opposite. Not to mention dark.
Not anymore, thankfully.
How did you even manage to cross the border between realms? All 5 realms are supposed to be closed off, due to the nature of the crown contest.
What? Is this an interrogation now?
I didn't mean it like that. I just figured if a Danon like you was able to slip between realms, it could come in handy later.
Ah, good thinking. I don't think I really did anything all that creative, though.
What? Don't tell me you climbed over the walls of fire.
Oh, hell no. Not even Zeugles could do something that crazy. Nah, I stowed away.
In what?
Oh, you'll like this. The realms don't maintain much contact with each other, but there are resources each is looking to trade for. So, there are cargo convoys from each of the lords that go around a few times a year to lend those resources to each other.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. That was the only time the gates of Calaglia would ever open up.
Right. Obviously, they don't let Danons ride with them, so I snuck on board inside some cargo instead.
So you were carried out of the realm? You did great not getting caught. Way to go.
Let's just say I've always had a knack for sneaking around since I was little. I was also really desperate to get the hell out of Calaglia at the time. I had more guts than brains that day. If I had to guess, I probably wasn't the first one to ever do something like that. Danon or Renan.
I wonder if that's how Ganabelt, was able to hear about what happened in Calaglia so quickly.
So in other words, we should always assume that the enemy is informed about whatever it is that we may be up to, wherever we go.
So if I remember right, there are 6 elements of astral energy, and darkness is only on Rena, and light can only be found on Dana, right?
Right. I only remember because my parents drilled it all into my head when I was little.
How did we find out about dark astral energy in the first place if it's not on Dana, though?
Beats me. I couldn't tell you how or when we figured out that sort of stuff. I'm sure there's other stuff we've forgotten along the way, too.
Yeah, I bet. And then we forget that knowledge was even forgotten at all, and it's back to square one.
Exactly. That's why we need to take good care of what knowledge and artifacts we still have left.
You really have a thing for old stuff, don't you?
Well, I don't know that I'd call it just a thing. It's also something that helps me feel connected to our world.
Connected?
It's nothing. Forget I even mentioned it. I should have guessed that there'd be no way he'd understand. How could he?
When I get in a tussle, I go full force right at him. Whoever makes the first move wins.
I do have to admit, it's quite the spectacle to watch you charge in and go to town on someone during a battle.
Yeah, it was actually my old man who taught me to fight that way. The more I lay the beat down on some baddies, the more fired up my fists of fury get.
Zephyr taught you? Wow. I guess you really are following in his footsteps.
There's nothing wrong with being so focused on offense, but the enemy always fights back at some point.
As long as I don't get hit, it's not a problem, right?
So what you're saying is you're too weak to take a hit.
You're not exactly one to talk.
Look, Renan soldiers.
Do the Renans control this city? I've never seen so many of them in one place before.
No. Look at the cores on them. These people are all Danans. They're slaves.
If they are, they're awfully well dressed.
And they're smiling, too. Something weird's going on here.
Forgive the intrusion, but if I'm not mistaken, you're newcomers to Elda Menencia, yes? Please, you have no reason to be alarmed. My name is Droshin. I work at the Department for Welfare.
Department for Welfare?
We work to support the day-to-day living of all citizens. Welcoming newcomers to the realm is a part of our job, albeit one we rarely have the pleasure to perform.
Let me guess. We get a free pair of shackles as a welcome gift.
Perish the thought! Your trepidation is perfectly understandable, but I assure you, our way is quite different. In the past, this realm was no different from any other, and run by a rather merciless ruler. But all of that changed once His Excellency, Lord Dohalim, assumed power 7 years ago.
Dohalim.
Under him, for the first time in our lives, we Danans were treated with the respect we deserve. Lord Dohalim is adored by Danans throughout the realm, and we serve him with gladness.
Am I hearing you right? The Danans here willingly serve a Renan lord?
Please, see for yourself. You're free to go anywhere you like. Just ask if you should need anything.
What is it? Spit it out.
It's just, we came here to free everyone.
Uh-huh.
But the Danans of this realm are all happy to serve Dohalim. Are there any walls that even need tearing down?
Who cares? That just makes our path to Dohalim that much clearer.
I guess, but...
Still, Droshin said we should check things out for ourselves. Maybe we should look around a bit, see what we learn.
Everyone walking the streets looks so calm and happy. I guess it really is true they don't treat Danans as slaves here.
Did they actually somehow achieve equality here? And if they did, why? To what end?
Something here doesn't feel right, even though they sure want to act like it does.
What is going through that Lord Dohalim's mind, I wonder? So, do any of you know anything about Lord Dohalim?
I think I remember hearing something back in Sisloden about how he fights using a rod.
A rod?
I don't know the details, but from what I gather, he swings a long rod around and uses it to stab and smack people from afar. I think there's also something he does with, like, trees or grass or something? I forget.
Grass?
Bear in mind that Elda Menencia harvests Earth astral energy. It would be no surprise for him to have some sort of control over plants.
So basically the point is we know nothing about the guy. Wish we weren't going in completely blind.
I just don't get it. The Danans have endured years of suffering. How could they just turn around and trust the Renans all of a sudden?
Yeah, I've been wondering the same thing. But I guess they must have a pretty good reason, right?
Like what? What could erase 300 years of pain and suffering?
Maybe it's precisely because they suffered for so long that they see Dohalim as something of a savior.
Hey, whose side are you on here, Alphen?
Relax, Rinwell. All I'm saying is that we shouldn't jump to assumptions about these people until we know more about the situation.
I just don't get it.
Oh.
You okay? You made a weird sound.
Sorry. I was just thinking how amazing this view is.
What's the matter? Haven't you ever seen mountains and fields before?
Actually, now that I think about it, it's not every day we get to enjoy views like this.
You too?
Yeah. Calaglia has rocky landscapes, but the terrain here is completely different. Like, you see that mountain over there? Doesn't it look like a big wave that somebody turned into stone?
Right? And those ones look like the horns or claws of some giant monster. I'm surprised they managed to stay up.
Yeah. Just be thankful we don't have to pass under them.
Actually,
They won't come tumbling down that easily.
You sure about that?
Menancia harvests earth energy, which explains why the topography is so varied here. It's also why those rocks are bound to be sturdy.
So all that astral energy is also what makes this realm look so lush then? Does astral energy really have that much of an impact on the land?
Yeah. Is that why even that mountain looks the way that it does?
The stronger the energy is, the greater impact it has on lots of things. So yes, like a great big fire.
but these imbalances are too pronounced to be nature's work. It's not how Dana would otherwise naturally look.
If it's not natural, then you mean all of this is the Renan's doing?
When you put it like that, even something as nice looking as this starts to feel wrong. That Kisara woman. She sounded pretty smug about serving Dohalim, didn't she?
She still has a Renin for a boss. How is that any different from being a slave?
Renan society is a meritocracy. To us, it's seen as natural that those who sit at the top rule over the rest.
It's the same old wall as the rest of Dana at the end of the day, just with a different coat of paint.
I guess it can change people's attitudes if they can at least serve someone they respect.
But they're still being deceived. It's obvious that's what's happening.
On the one hand, her loyalty really did seem to be genuine. But on the other hand, Calaglia had its fair share of Danans who just accepted Renan rule because it was all they'd ever known. With that in mind, it can be hard to tell if her loyalty truly came about on its own, or if it's just the result of years of subjugation.
Who knows? It might clear some things up if we hear what Dohalim has to say.
Yeah, you're right. Let's make our way to the palace. So that was Lord Dohalim, huh? He sure is something. Definitely not like the other lords we've met up until now.
At first, he sounded like just some snobby royal, but he immediately shut down Shion's surprise attack. He's tougher than he looks.
Definitely. After all, he's a lord for a reason.
The food was pretty damn good, too.
Why are you two complimenting him? You just said it yourself, Alphen. He's a Renin lord.
Yeah, but he didn't act hostile towards us.
You're reading him wrong. He's acting indifferent. He's attempting to keep some distance between himself and everyone else. It's obvious.
What are we going to do then? Vicent seems to be legit peaceful. Are we just gonna do as he says and leave things be?
I'm not entirely sure. For now, I think it would be best for us to rest at the inn and think about our options.
So you're the blazing sword of Calaglia now, huh? Come to think of it, I remember Ganabelt calling you that too.
Yeah, you're getting to be pretty famous among the lords.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing either.
What do you mean? That's something you should be proud of, if anything, Alphen. They're scared of you, man. You're a real badass.
It's not as simple as that, Law. The more well-known he is, the more people might come after him.
No, that's not what I'm worried about.
It isn't?
When people call me that, it feels like there's something hanging over me that shouldn't be there. It's hard to put into words, but it's something that doesn't feel like a part of me. Something I can't let be a part of me. Or else.
Well, I still think it's pretty amazing, but that's just me.
Do you really think we should trust accommodations from a Renan lord? How do we know it's safe?
Like we have any other choice. We can't go and set up camp outside of town at this hour.
Honestly, I'd still take that over staying here. What if they try to kill us in our sleep?
I doubt that's the case. His best chance to kill us would have been back at the palace. His true intentions aside, for now, at least we're in his good books.
Then we probably shouldn't test his patience. Let's find that inn and check in.
So, that black cat, do you think it works for someone?
I'm sure it does. It wouldn't try to lead us around like that if somebody didn't train it to.
I wouldn't know. I've never had one myself. If I did, it'd probably try to eat poor Hootle.
I wonder who they are, though. I doubt this is Dohalim's work.
Yeah, he has no reason to do this. Although we can't rule out that it might be one of his lackeys either.
You think one of his subordinates is up to something?
That Dohalim guy is a pretty unusual character for a Renan, let alone for a lord. It's hard for me to imagine that they all agree with what he's doing. Maybe one of them plucked up the courage to go rogue.
Well, let's head further in. I'd like to figure out at least one of the mysteries of this place. I get that underground forests aren't exactly something you see every day, but I really could have done without any Zeugles running around.
You said it. I get the city up top surrounded by castle walls, but now I won't be able to sleep easy knowing they're lurking underneath.
You have nothing to fear. Zeugles work for the Renans. There might be strays out here, but the other Zeugles won't let them get close.
Using Zeugles to keep watch over their own kind, huh? That would explain why we're not seeing any guards.
Yeah, which makes it that much easier for someone to hide around here too.
I sent Kisara back to town under the cover of night.
You do realize that she was searching for you all this time, right?
I wonder why. She never could let things go, ever since we were kids. Maybe she was keeping an eye on you all because she thought you might cause trouble. I wouldn't be surprised.
Do we need to be worried about her? She could easily report us.
Even if we could have kept her here, it would have just raised more suspicion. Besides, I want to believe in her.
More leaps of faith, huh?
Once we make our move, I'll send Zare to come fetch you again. Until then, stay close and try not to wander off too far.
I know he said it's necessary, but are we sure Miguel's plan is a good idea?
I mean, just because we came expecting a fight doesn't mean we have to have one.
If Miguel is right about Dohalim, we may have no reason to fight. Dohalim may have found a way to build a future where Danans and Renans can live alongside each other in peace.
Yeah, I guess that may be true, but I'm still not sure about this. I just can't bring myself to trust a Renan. I really don't understand what's going through Miguel's head. And as for him and Kisara...
He said they were siblings, right? But things seem kinda awkward between them. I was an only child, so I never had to deal with that kind of stuff.
Is their situation really that different from ours?
That's... I mean, I guess not, but...
The reality is that we don't know what's true and what isn't about Menancia yet. Until we know that for sure, let's not pass judgment one way or another, okay?
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough, I guess.
Oh, good. There you are.
You people again. You shouldn't be loitering around here. Don't force me to arrest you.
Think we've established you couldn't even if you wanted to.
What?
Law, quit it. We're not here to argue with you, Captain. We've got something to deliver to you. Here.
That's... That bracelet. Is that my brother's? Why are you giving this to me? I can't help but wonder what my brother is planning with all this.
I'm not sure. That said, I think he was being sincere about everything he told us back there. I've met a lot of good people fighting to liberate Dana. And I got the same feeling from Miguel that I did from all of them. I think we can trust him. I think you're a good person too. Otherwise you would report on us and the Gold Dust Cats, right?
What makes you think I won't?
Because Miguel trusts you. And that's enough for me to trust you too.
You're a pretty unusual guy, Alphen. Do you go around acting like that everywhere you liberate people?
What do you mean?
Sorry, forget it. It's nothing.
Okay. Anyway, I think we'll find out more about what Miguel's planning soon enough. All we can do now is wait and see what happens.
I guess so.
I noticed your shield just appears out of nowhere whenever you need to use it, just like Shion and her gun.
Does it use the same Renin transferal technology too? Don't you need astral energy in order to use that?
You do. Obviously, I can't cast arts myself, but I'm equipped with a device that has the necessary energy charged into it. As long as I'm using the device, I can call forth my shield whenever I like.
Equipment charged with astral energy isn't all that rare.
So basically, there's nothing special about Renin technology that prevents Danins from using it?
No. But as you might expect, normally they'd never be given any of it in the first place.
It's not as if just anybody gets to have it here. You need to earn Lord Dohalim's trust before you're allowed access to it.
What makes you so sure he's not bribing you?
Rinwell.
I'm just being honest. It's not normal.
I can understand why you'd be skeptical. However, Elda Menancia truly has transformed and evolved from the sort of realm it once was.
Yes, she's right. And that's exactly why I...
Miguel?
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll explain more once we arrive at our destination.